So a couple of weeks ago, I asked my friend whose final result in A level was 4 A stars. A star in maths, physics, chemistry, and computer science. So he knows a couple of things about A level, I would say. And I just thought, it would be a fun thing to do a Q&A. So I put up a post saying if you have any questions for someone who got 4 A stars, you can, ask him and then I'll get him to answer it. So here today I have the questions as well as answers from 3 different people who got really, really good grades in A levels, as well as my thoughts on the answers. So without wasting any more of your time, let's begin with the first question. The questions are actually going to be on the screen below. I'm not going to be reading them out. I'm just going to be reading the answers out. Okay, so the first question is probably going to be on your screen right now. And the answer to that is no, do not check out any A2 content until you are done with AS content, especially for pure maths. Starting AS Math and you want to do P4 early, I'm completely against that idea. It is so unnecessary and you just waste your time. If you're started with AS Math, literally just do AS Math, finish P1 as early as you can, so you have more time for P2, which is also something I would recommend because P1 is incredibly easy. I mean, I did it for early entry and I got, I think, 97 UMS out of 100, and basically it was pretty easy. So, and P2, however, is a bit harder, so what I would recommend as well is that you finish P1 as soon as you can and move on to P2. Similarly with chemistry, finish Unit 1 as soon as you can, move on to Unit 2 because Unit 2 is probably one of the hardest ones yet. Getting the idea of potential questions sounds good, but is counterintuitive as you will be tested on your AS knowledge in AS and not A2 knowledge in your AS. So what he's trying to say here is basically in AS, you're only going to be tested on your AS knowledge, whereas in A levels, you might be tested on your AS knowledge as well. So just make sure that you're following the correct pattern. Moving on to the next question, it is quite long, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to read it first, and then we're going to move on to the answer. Okay, so the answer to this is by solving plenty of past papers, you memorize them, and I completely agree. When you keep on continuously doing past papers, you start to memorize the marking scheme. You sort of understand the examiner's perspective, and you write the answer according to that. Anyways, by solving plenty of past papers, you memorize the exam pattern. This tells you which questions are your weaknesses, so you leave them till the end or adjust accordingly. The entire question need not be difficult, maybe just a part of it or part or two like maths. So for example, in edX or maths, you have different parts. One question might have like 10 parts or something like that. So what he's saying is basically only one or two or three parts are actually going to be challenging. The rest are going to be easy. So just make sure you know what you're doing. If you know you need time to do a question, you can skip and do it the rest, as time management is very, very, very important. Practice on the exam timings. Try to do the paper within a certain time. At first, you might not work out, but slowly time management will get improved. Know your keywords and understand what is used when. Use mind gaps to grasp ideas. I found this strategy to be pretty effective, which is to make your own marking scheme. Notes are notes connecting difficult ideas expressed in past papers. So this is something I did as well. If there was something in the marking scheme that I was like, oh, this is interesting, and I can use it to answer my questions later on, I used to write it down somewhere, and I would highly recommend you do that as well because it is really, really effective. And yeah, so basically what I mean is to try to print the syllabus, try to make questions based on the syllabus of each chapter, and find the answers in the marking scheme / past papers. That way you'd ensure you've covered everything, and it will be easy to learn once you have them all in one document. Now, moving on to the next question. The best way to do bio exams is to do a lot of past papers and save marking schemes or frequently asked questions. Marking schemes helps you strengthen the knowledge you know, and if you do not know something mentioned in the marking scheme, that is something you know and you should learn. Same method I mentioned above, plus gulping the marking scheme. Basically, I don't take biology, so I don't really know, but from what I see here is the marking scheme, analyzing the marking scheme is very important. Gulping the marking scheme, knowing the content for bio isn't enough. There are, some possible questions which are bound to trip you over. Practice is key, and that is the truth for every single subject out there. The next question is on your screen right now. Do not procrastinate, start early. A timetable is vital. Give more study time in a day for the subject you are least confident in. So basically, if you're bad at maths, give more time to maths, and if you're good in chemistry, give less time to chemistry. So adjust accordingly, basically. The subject you find most difficult should be done, for example, every day, and the subject you find the easiest should be done given alternate days. Studying the whole day is not sensible, so whenever you're on a break, put some work towards your university application. Do it every day, little by little, and it will be completed. Start now. Understand how you can reduce your burden by doing early entries for some papers. So that's what I did as well, and trust me, it helps because you do not have to worry during the actual exam season. For applications start early too. Understand what course and where you want to study. Have a top-down approach rather than a bottom-up approach. Honestly, I prioritized the subjects I was weakest at, focused a bit more on it initially to give myself a jump boost, then later on studied all equally. I usually went with one day, two subjects. So he would study two subjects in one day, and that is what I do as well. Oh, sorry, that's not what I do. I study one subject one day. So I have like I think 2 hours of study time every single day. So I study one single subject only. And I do not, if I were to do it 1 hour, it would just not be suitable for me. So I do it 2 hours, one subject. I don't know the application process. I just went with the schedule spontaneously. You think you have a lot of applications to do, but it's sort of like a filler. It won't be that deep as long as you start early before studies get heavy. Next question is on your screen right now. From the start of the year, you should watch videos, use the textbook, and accordingly make your notes for each subject, or find the already ready-made notes and add on to them as you study the topic. And that is exactly what I do. For chemistry, there's something called ChemRevise, and they have amazing notes. So what I do, I usually download them, and I use the textbook, and I add on to them as we go. Specifically for pure math, the textbook is solid and will give you you will probably only need videos when you are having doubts while solving the past papers. There is no best studying method. Everyone has their own method of studying. Everyone is a different type of learner. There's visual, auditory, physical, etc., etc. You gotta see which one suits you, bro, and which one is more effective for you, and I can't help you with this. And I completely agree. Everyone learns in a different way, and for me, I'm a visual learner, but someone else might be auditory. It depends from person to person. Explore methods that work for you. What worked for me won't work for you. Go ahead and dive into a topic. Use videos, notes, textbooks. See which ones clear your concepts and do more of that later on. And I completely agree with this as well. Right, the next question is... A timetable like the example mentioned above, do not spend the entire day just studying. Doing a lot of past papers, making short notes or quick cheat sheets that help you revise quickly. Watch YouTube videos of good YouTuber, emphasis on the good, teaching the course. Learn to plan so you can plan to learn. This is something very important. Learn to plan so you can plan to learn. Have a sheet of FAQ and questions you don't understand, and some tips to solve it. Watch people solve past papers and ask your doubts in class, and pay attention in the class as much as possible. About the watching people solve the past papers, I did this for maths, and it's quite helpful because when you're first doing maths, it is kind of confusing and you do not know how to grasp your way around the concept. So I used to watch YouTubers solve the past papers, and then I used to do them myself. So I think that really helped me. Anyways, next question. You do not give equal time, and this is kind of common sense. If you're struggling in a subject more, you give more time to that. If you're good in a subject, you give less time to that. Split your times in terms of how much practice you need on a subject. That's exactly what I said. The weaker the subject is, it's likely to ask more time from it, and just standard use of estimated guess. The next question is, I'm gonna say it's just, how did you manage 4 subjects altogether, and how did you revise for them? Start early so you finish the first study early. You should have enough time to revise the content. Then 2 months before the exam, you begin past papers from old to new. You should be done with at least 2018 plus. Many students wake up at the end and cram, which is cramming is probably the worst thing that you can do, because you might remember it for like a couple of days, but you will forget after that, and it's really not worth it, which makes studying one subject impossible. Start a little early, be consistent, dive deeper into the subject, explore your interests. Don't procrastinate, and you must do the work now or later. Might as well do it now. Oh wow, this question is kinda long. It's about chemistry, and I think this is gonna be very helpful for you guys as well. The chemistry textbook is not good, and the school will probably not help you much. If you use the textbook, you need to supplement it with YouTube videos. But even then, I cannot guarantee a perfect or adequate understanding of all the content. Chemistry is very easy if you understand the content. When you comprehend the content, your brain can work and deal with any weird question they ask. I approach chemistry by outsourcing. I know the syllabus. Why should I stick to what Edexcel, the Edexcel is the syllabus, what Edexcel YouTubers do? More often than not, those YouTubers copy marking schemes, and I've seen this as a common trend. When you're solving, there are very few YouTubers who actually explain it properly. Majority of the time, it's just them copying off the marking scheme. There are online chemistry study websites that can explain the content 10 times better, especially for A2. And if you want to do well in chemistry, you will probably need to go a bit out of the syllabus scope. For example, if you see something and you do not know why that is, and the syllabus doesn't mention it, put in the effort to go and check it out. Even if it's just going out of the specification. Going out of the specification has helped me countless of time, as Edexcel ends up asking a lot of out of specification questions, such as suggest questions or section C. And what I learned out of the specification helps me answer those sometimes. So if you don't know, there are something called suggest questions or give a reason why, which are not included in the syllabus, and Dixel just wants to test you like whether you can apply knowledge. And they're also known as applied application based questions, where you have to use your brain. It's not something you've memorized. You just have to go with your gut instinct and write whatever you think is correct. Even though the book isn't the best, if you are just starting chemistry, read through it, get an idea of what is asked and what the basic main concept is. Then develop on it through other sources. The above only works if you know the syllabus. If you do not understand the syllabus for what is being asked and what other topic related to it. For chemistry, you need to put extra time to understand and fill any knowledge gaps. And the final question is, if you were to do A levels again, what are a couple of things you would change and why? If I were to do A level again, I wouldn't change anything, maybe procrastinate less, but that's about it. Procrastinate less and realize the gap between IGCSE and A levels isn't something to fear. Right, now we're done with the questions. Let me just give a couple of my thoughts on it. Yeah, basically, I agree with everything they've said, except basically, I agree with everything they said. And about, how regret takes over, basically, it's not the fear of missing out, it's the fear of regret that I have. Like, why did I not do this before? And to think that, mistakes actually make you better. So if they are, I would just, take a lesson from my mistakes. I do not regret making any of those mistakes. But in fact, I would only regret it if I did not take a lesson from those mistakes. So last year, I did not study properly. I did not get the grades I want. So what am I going to do differently this year? So this year, what I've done is I'm studying properly with using correct revision techniques. And so far, it's helping me a lot. So I say that I'm going to say personally that is a successful mission completed, because I made mistake. I learned from the mistake, and now I'm doing better. So basically, yeah, just learn from your mistakes, and everything they've said, I hope it really does help you guys. If you have any other questions, you can leave them in the comment section below, or if you really, really want to help, you can go ahead and click on the link in the description, which allows you to book a free call with me for 30 minutes and discuss whatever problems you have, no matter what they are. So feel free to do that as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.